Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekan Onabanjo. The top stories at this hour. Flood destroys 2,517 houses, farmland in Gombe. Stranded students beg President Tinubu to rescind ban on Benin Republic varsity certificates. Heavy rains sweep through Sudan's northeastern region. Details to come your way shortly. Let's begin by telling you that the Gombe State Emergency Management Agency has said that over 2,500 houses and shops were either completely or partially destroyed by flood, which ravaged 33 communities in the state. The Deputy Director, Relief and Rehabilitation of the agency, Ibrahim Nalado, disclosed this in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria on Saturday in Gombe. Nalado said that the communities affected were in Dukku, Funakaye and Billiri Local Government Areas of the state. According to him, the areas were flooded due to the heavy downpour that occurred between August 12 and August 22. Nalado said that the flooding and windstorm affected mostly houses and a few farmlands in the communities. To security issues now, the Zamfara state government has been tasked to set up a peace commission that will help end the violence and pervading insecurity being witnessed in the state. This was as peace-building experts converged on Abuja to review the current insecurity situation in the state and profile workable solutions adopted by neighboring states in the northwest and north-central region capable of restoring peace to the state. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, reports.
The establishment of a peace commission in Adamawa, Kaduna and Plateau states to help quell ethnic and religious tensions, including farmer-herder conflict, has been described as a success story in the states. While the initiative has been considered by many as a magic wand that helped resolve decade-long divisions, some security experts have called on the Zamfara state government to emulate the gesture. Some of them converged on the nation's capital, Abuja, to share ideas on how to replicate a similar commission in Zamfara state.
So this meeting is a meeting where different stakeholders who are implementing initiatives that Zamfara is interested in have come to share their experiences. We have also brought experts in ADR, veteran director generals of peace agencies in different states so that they can give guidance.
With Zamfara state suffering from banditry, kidnapping for ransom and other vices, experts have tasked the state to consider the peculiarity of conflict in the state and come up with a proposed peace commission.
The agency has to be contextually grounded in the realities of Zamfara state. They need a thorough analysis of their conflict situation, of the violence, of the, so that they can, properly ground it in their reality.
The establishment of such institutions must draw heavily from government policy, looking at the challenges that such governments are facing in their states. And by the way, most of these entities will have to develop strategic plans that at least can go for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, or even 8 years. It makes it easier because the challenges of peace and security do not just evaporate, at the expiration of a government term.
They said that the move to establish a peace commission is also followed by a proposal to create a multi-door court that will help reduce the number of pending insecurity-related cases.
We were glad that we have a lot of resource persons. They have expressed their expertise in how the oppressive government can go about in establishing the agencies. So we will go back home and come up with our draft and we will share with them on the need to establish the two agencies.
Given the lessons that have been learned from the existence of a peace commission in Adamawa, Kaduna and Plateau states, experts say that there must be a political will to ensure the employment of capable personnel in the commission when created. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
To tell you that the Nigerian army has reported the elimination of several terrorists during an operation in the Kampani, Doka and Rifigiro areas of Billiri Local Government in Kaduna State. According to a statement on the army's social media platform, troops encountered strong resistance from terrorists but were subdued with superior firepower, neutralizing 7 of the criminals. Troops recovered 3 AK-47 rifles, 8 magazines, 120 rounds of ammunition, motorcycles, communication devices, and other items. The operation extended to Gayam village, where a notorious insurgent leader was neutralized and additional weapons, including a PKT machine gun, were seized. The public is urged to continue supporting security forces in their efforts to maintain peace and security. Away from that, Taraba State Governor Abu Kefas has announced that his government is working on the implementation of the new national minimum wage. Speaking to journalists after signing the state supplementary budget on Friday, Governor Kefas stated that the head of service and his committee are already preparing the new wage table for workers in the state. According to the governor, it is not an issue, adding that he has made it clear that once the federal government approves it, the state will implement it. Governor Kefas expressed gratitude to the Taraba State House of Assembly for their swift passage of the supplementary budget, commending their understanding, support, and proactive approach. He assured that his administration is committed to providing the best leadership for the people of Taraba State. And now in Southwest, hope is rising for victims of the Dosumu market fire as the Lagos State government steps in with financial aid. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu visited the scene of the devastating blaze, presenting checks to affected traders and promising more support. While business owners are relieved, they are also appealing for help to rebuild their shattered stalls. News Central's Adeshewo Dushoga reports.
In a bid to alleviate the suffering of business owners affected by the devastating fire that ravaged Dosumu Market in April, the Lagos State government has provided financial compensation to the victims. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu visited the site of the fire and presented checks to some of the affected traders.
Ẹ jókòó, wọ́n ti ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ sílẹ̀ ní wọ́ọ́rọ́wọ́ ọmọ máa porúkọ yín ẹ̀dẹ̀ wa máa sign fún owó yín bank draft ni ẹ bá ti mú dé bank ó ti dowó so kò sí risk kankan rárá ẹ̀dẹ̀ wa máa sign fún ọ ní kọ̀ọ̀kan lọ́lé ni o ọlọ́run á dúró tì yín o ẹ ṣé gan.
Speaking on behalf of the state, Lagos Commissioner for Special Duties, Gbenga Yorinde, assured the beneficiaries that the government will continue to engage with them to ensure the funds are used effectively.
It's not going to be all engagements. And after this, we are still going to have further engagement with the recipients and then knowing fully well how they have judiciously used whatever they have been given out to them.
The beneficiaries and market leaders expressed their gratitude to the state government for the support. However, they also appealed for assistance in renovating the affected buildings to restore normalcy to the market.
We wrote to the governor and immediately he listened and allowed us continue our market. In fact, we don't know how to thank him on that alone, because the market that this thing cover, the closure of market, is more than 9 markets.
Dosumu Market, a vital hub of commercial activities, has been struggling to recover from the fire that destroyed goods and properties worth millions of naira. The compensation is a welcome relief to the business owners who have been working to rebuild their livelihoods. As the beneficiaries look forward to rebuilding their businesses, they hope for continued government support to revive the market to its former glory. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Adeshawa Dushoga.
Now to education, a visually impaired widow and over 600 students of the ESM University, Benin Republic, and their parents have appealed to President Bola Tinubu to reverse the ban on the institution's certificate in Nigeria. The distraught students who are on the scholarship of a faith-based organization, Omega Power Ministries, and their parents cried to the General Overseer and their benefactor, Apostle Chibuzo Chinyere, in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, and lamented that the ban has brought agonies to them. The students and parents, while fighting back tears, said they were shocked when they received news about the federal government's decision on the ESM University in Benin Republic. The undergraduates said withdrawing them from school when they were already making progress and after their benefactor had invested much in their education was tantamount to jeopardizing their future. Stakeholders in the education sector in Abia State are concerned about the recent statements credited to the Minister of Education, Tahir Maman, making it mandatory for secondary school students to attain 18 years before they can sit for the West African Examination Council and National Examination Council. Although the implementation is scheduled to begin by next year, parents and educationists in Umuahia, Abia State, southeast Nigeria, have weighed in on this. News Central's Chinwe reports.
Available records show that children begin primary education at age 5 or 6, but do not all complete the 6-year primary education either due to the child's intellectual ability or the wish of the parents. The speed at which most children these days complete their basic education in Nigeria has now become an issue for the government. The Minister of Education, Tahir Maman, has said that government will in 2025 begin the implementation of an old policy. In a recent interview, the minister said, "So we are not coming up with new policy contrary to what people are saying. We are simply just reminding people of what is existing."
We are in a computer world now. And modern world. You can't stop somebody who is very intelligent, from going forward. Because it is going to be devastating indeed. A child who had read up to that level, then you stop that child because he or she is not up to 18.
The minister further said, if somebody has not spent the requisite number of years in that particular level of study, WAEC and NECO will not allow them write the examination. The minister did not, however, address the gifted children's fate in the implementation of this policy.
What about, is it all about academics? Because we center on certificates.
Some educationists have, however, thrown their weight behind the minister.
Let's allow the children to mature so that they can take informed decision on what they want.
They, however, accused the government of policy somersaults over time.
Nigeria is confused. We just copy other countries' curriculum without, looking inward to our own, the way our country is, and then find a curriculum that is suitable for our country.
Some argue that age has absolutely nothing to do with the mess in the education sector.
The issue is the proper address of the state of education in Nigeria, so that a common man can achieve education, can achieve learning.
As for the students, it is a lot of time to be in school.
Forget about it, because if they should leave us to that 18 distance, right, some people will go into things like prostitution, all those kinds of things, and they will not have time again to read. So it's really discouraging, and most of them, it really affects our youth.
One therefore wonders how the government will implement this policy from next year, when majority of the students who will be in the examination class to write WAEC and NECO the same year are between 14 and 15 years old. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
We're going to break now. When we return, we will tell you how Ogun State government revoked the licenses of 20 private orphanage homes. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. We're in the southwestern part of Nigeria, and we tell you that the Ogun State government has revoked the provisional licenses granted to 20 private orphanage owners operating in the state. This, it said, is due to non-compliance with regulations and laws prioritizing the well-being and safety of vulnerable children in their care. The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Adijat Adeleye, expressed displeasure over some private orphanage owners' activities, stating that the state will not tolerate shady practices involving illegal adoption, child trafficking, or maltreatment of children in their custody. She said the present administration is committed to safeguarding children's welfare and preventing exploitation, urging them to adhere to laid down guidelines. Now, in an effort to enhance the handling of sexual crimes, the Nigeria Police, in partnership with the Lake Chad Basin Support Framework, have launched a comprehensive training program for officers. The course focuses on sexual and gender-based violence, equipping officers with the skills needed for effective investigations in Borno State. News Central's Marikirawa has the details.
As Borno State in Nigeria's northeast continues to recover from prolonged insurgency, tackling sexual and gender-based violence remains a crucial part of the recovery process. The training program emphasizes investigative skills and sensitivity towards sexual crimes. The initiative aims to prepare officers to provide specialized support and resources for victims of sexual violence.
This course provides us with the knowledge, skill, and attitude how we are going to deal with the SGBB case, and also how we are going to approach a survivor.
If they brought a survivor to a station as a rape at a point of rape, we take the survivor to the hospital, meet the doctor. He's the one that will examine her, treat her, and take her back to the station.
This training has really broadened our knowledge on SGBV cases and relevant laws that are applicable.
The 43rd Commissioner of Police in Borno State, Mohammed Yusufu, provides sexual and gender-based violence specialized investigators with strategic guidance, leadership, and other technical expertise.
It is little wonder that from the national database, you have seen statistics of gender-related violence on the high rise in this part of the country. So it is, of course, necessary that we need the required intervention. One, don't just look at gender-based violence in isolation to other crime. It has a spillover effect to one, suicide, drug abuse, broken home, so spread of venereal diseases. So the consequences of gender-based violence, if not properly handled, can dislocate the entire fabric of our ethics and norms as people and as society.
There is now going to be 35 gender desks across the divisions, across the whole of Borno State, that then survivors can be interviewed by specialist trained officers.
These specialized desks are expected to offer essential support to survivors and enhance overall responses to sexual and gender-based violence in the region. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umar Kirawa.
We move to North Central to tell you that residents of Jos, the Plateau state capital, are being urged to prioritize their safety on the roads. Concerns have risen as many residents choose to cross major roads instead of using the pedestrian bridges provided in certain areas. News Central's Chizoba Anyonwe reports from Jos, examining this risky behavior among road users in the Jos and Bukuru metropolis.
Despite the dangers, it's been observed that many people prefer to cross major roads instead of using pedestrian crossings where they have the right of way. Whether due to convenience, fear of heights, or the perception that the bridge is a longer route, many choose to disregard the traffic rules. While some pedestrians do adhere to safety guidelines, others express concerns about the height of the pedestrian bridges or the longer distance involved. Regardless of the reasons, safety remains paramount.
Several accidents have been happening here and people have been dying. So I'm advising people to continue using the flyover.
We are always trying to beat time, and we neglect the bridge that was provided, and we don't put safety into consideration in most of the things we do, which is very wrong.
It's too long for people to go up. That's why they normally cross. Here it will be the shorter place for you to cross.
So most of the mature people, if they come, they feel climbing the bridge is very stressful for them. So they find it very easy crossing the road.
Recognizing the dangers of ignoring traffic rules, the saying, prevention is better than cure, rings true.
I think road safety should be around these places so that they'll force people to use the bridge.
If signages can be placed at strategic points to make us understand the need for us to be able to do that, to go a long way.
The road safety is supposed to be close by so that they will be directing people to climb the bridge. It will be more safe and easy.
Unfortunately, the Federal Road Safety Corps faces limitations in enforcing certain traffic rules unless specific laws are passed, even when lives are at stake.
We have our notice of offense, and our notice of offense have not written anything about those offenses. But the only thing that road safety will be able to do is to advise the pedestrians to use the pedestrian crossing. There is no any other law that says we can book them or apprehend them for that reason. So whether they use it or not, the only thing we can be able to do is to advise. That is the only thing we can do for now, because this law are being passed, and the National Assembly, that's in Abuja, normally check all the offenses and give their own audits concerning it before it's being enforced. So since they have not put those ones into enforcement, we cannot be able to do anything.
Now, from everything that has been said here today, it is expected that major state actors do more in the creation of awareness to ensure the safety of both human and vehicular movement on our roads. From the Dadinkowa area of Jos, Chizoba Anyowe, reporting for News Central.
Nigeria's federal government has launched its National Environmental Battery Control Regulations 2024, aimed at tackling the challenges associated with battery waste management in the country. This was during an event organized by the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, with support from the Nigerian Energy Support Program and some international partners. Nigeria's Minister of Environment says that the guidelines will have far-reaching impacts in the country, help safeguard the environment, and contribute towards achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal.
Process that starts from the collection, transportation, recovery of precious metals back into the manufacturing process of the Nigerian industrial sector, which in this case is the battery sector.
We also have sections that deal with what we are supposed to do, and then those industries and other users, entities, individual and entities that use battery, what you are also expected to do, particularly in terms of the new, used and end-of-life batteries. And of course, we also have sections that deal with penalties that will be meted out to people who offend in the case of in the context of the provisions.
We intend to have a project, a pilot project, to see how feasible it will be to have like a battery recycling facility, so that we will see if it's workable, then we will now replicate in other states. Because when you look at it, if it's a success story, this is a waste to wealth initiative, which means all these our teeming youths that will graduate and not have jobs, this is a very good opportunity for them to also key in to this project.
And from environment rather to health matters now, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has announced that the vaccination for Mpox in Nigeria is set to begin on October 8, 2024. Head of Public Relations at the NPHCDA, Remi Adeleke, confirmed the timeline exclusively to our correspondent on Friday. Adeleke noted that vaccine deployments will commence from October 3 to 6, aligning with the regulatory procedures required by NAFDAC, which began on August 27. With only 9,980 doses of the Genius Mpox vaccine available, the distribution will be spread evenly across 5 states, with each state receiving 1,996 doses. The selected states are being evaluated in collaboration with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention based on current trends in Mpox cases. Adeleke outlined that the target population includes close contacts of Mpox cases, healthcare workers, and individuals with low immune system. To empower the next generation of Nigerian innovators and leaders, taking steps toward a more equitable tech landscape and honing the skills for all is necessary. But what are the chances of reshaping Nigeria's technological landscape soon? News Central's Chidima Ona provides more in this report.
Nigeria, a third world country of over 200 million people, constantly faces the threat of low representation and participation of youths in various sectors, particularly politics and tech. Tech entrepreneurs speak on the challenges that hinder their efficiency and say that turning innovative ideas into viable tech ventures will start by lowering several barriers.
I mean, if you look around different sectors, be it in healthcare, in education, in fintech and the likes, you see young people trying to make their own mark, or trying to make a scratch in the space. We need to ensure that policy that we put in place is one that allows and enables young people to continually be more creative.
I think the first thing we should do, if we really want to think about a lot of young Nigerians, is democratizing the opportunity. And what that means is lowering the barrier. You know, the first barrier will be financing. You know, a lot of young people need the financing to be able to learn a technology skill because it can be very expensive sometimes. The second will be then access to the resources, the materials, laptop, internet that people need to learn, you know, and also practice what they've learned.
So first, it's very important for you to know yourself and to be able to understand what makes you unique. And at the end of the day, how that adds up to the value chain of the tech industry. Because you just don't want to do what everybody's doing. You want to stand out, and that way you are able to plug into somewhere that would make you more valuable.
Providing tech support doesn't stop at creating workstations. Tech founders say that facilitating a smooth transition into the workforce and internships can help young talents gain real-world experience.
So it's not enough to train. You don't also have opportunities to because a lot of people are trying to meet that gap. I know several people are running tech academies here and there. People are trying to skip people up. But where do they? Because tech is like flying an aircraft. You can go to a training school to be a pilot, but you only become a valuable pilot based on mileage, based on how many planes you have flown, how many times you've flown in the air. Where are the opportunities to earn those skills? And those are the questions we need to ask. How do we unlock various industries where young people can now be given an opportunity to build tech for those industries, to earn tech, to be involved in the process of developing products and services that are technologically powered.
To unlock the full potential of Nigeria's young population, fostering tech awareness and providing robust training and opportunities to drive the nation's digital transformation will go a long way. In Lagos for News Central, Chidima Ona.
The news continues in East Africa, where people waded through floodwaters in the Tokar commune near the Red Sea in northeastern Sudan as heavy rains swept through the locality over the past days. The war-torn country has experienced an intense rainy season since last month, with intermittent torrential flooding mainly in the country's north and east. A relief worker described the situation as catastrophic, adding that there is no first aid at all.
الحمد لله جاوزنا الخطر ولا زال اهلنا واخواننا وحبايبنا لسه جوا في المويه غرقانين ما لاقي منفس انه يطلعوا به ذاته ولا يصلوا اي حته فيها علاج ولا فيها اكل ولا فيها شرب.
فرقنا بالجرارات بنفسنا المهم غايته كيف باي حاجه غايته تخرجنا بالسلام والتوكر كلها غرقانه ولا واحد لا شمال لا يمين.
الحقيقه الشغل ما بحجم الكارثه، كان ما بحجم الكارثه. الكارثه كبيره جدا والطريق مقفول والاسر ما زالت تعاني. يعني يمكن لم يحصل اقلاع في الفتره اللي فاتت الا بمجهودات فرديه، ونحن تفاجأنا في الحقيقه انه الطريق كان كله شغالين فيه بلابات بسيطه.
A major power outage hit Kenya on Friday, plunging large parts of the country, including Nairobi, into darkness. The Kenya Power and Lighting Company, KPLC, reported that all regions served by the national grid lost power except North Rift and parts of the western region. KPLC apologized for the inconvenience and assured customers they are working to restore power as quickly as possible. The blackout occurred around 9:30 p.m. local time, prompting frustrated Kenyans to voice their anger on social media. The Kenya Airports Authority confirmed that flights at Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport were not affected thanks to backup power systems. Kenya has experienced several large-scale power cuts in recent months. From the east, we take you to Central Africa, where 9 defendants on trial in the Democratic Republic of Congo over what the army says was a coup attempt on Friday pleaded not guilty. 51 people, including 3 U.S. citizens, are on trial over the incident, which began in the early hours of May 19 when armed men attacked the home of the DRC's Economy Minister Vital Kamerhe. The group then went to a building housing President Felix Tshisekedi's office, brandishing flags of Zaire, the country's name under ex-dictator Mobutu Sese Seko, who was overthrown in 1997. Shots were heard near the building, several sources said at the time. An army spokesman later announced on national TV that defense and security forces had stopped an attempted coup d'etat.
Et nous découvrons que la Constitution en 2006 a déjà dit qu'on ne peut en aucun cas, c'est-à-dire même quand il y a coup d'État, on ne peut plus tuer l'auteur. Et ça, c'est la loi, la loi des lois qui le dit à son article 61, premier point.
When I head to the north of the continent, where a Tunisian rights group announced on Friday that it had found shelter for 28 migrants and asylum seekers abandoned near the Tunisian-Algerian border without water or food. The Tunisian Forum for Social and Economic Rights, FTDES rights group, reported that the group included 7 women, 3 of whom were pregnant, and 2 children. They were among 42 people left stranded in the desert border region. FTDES spokesman Romdane Benamor stated that the remaining migrants were likely hiding, fearing the police. The group was reportedly expelled from the coastal city of Sfax and taken to Gafsa near the Algerian border. Benamor said the 28 were found with the help of local authorities and transferred to a shelter run by the International Organization for Migration. Staying in the region, an Egyptian worker was killed and 3 Arab-Israeli tourists were injured during an altercation at a hotel in Taba, Egypt on Friday. A medical source said the worker died while being transported to Sharm el-Sheikh, about 200 kilometers away. According to local media, 3 other workers were also wounded, along with the 3 tourists known as Arab 48, referring to Palestinians and their descendants who remained in Israel after 1948. The altercation reportedly began when the tourists attempted to obtain services without payment. Security authorities are investigating the incident, and officials have denied Israeli media reports that describe the incident as a stabbing operation. Taba, a popular destination for Israeli tourists, is located on the Egypt-Israel border. August 31.
Malaysia pada masa akan datang seperti negara-negara maju yang lain seperti Singapura, negara jiran kita sendiri. Saya ingin melihat Malaysia membangun sama seperti mereka. Duduk sama rendah, berdiri sama tinggi. Yes. begitu.
Rasa mungkin kita boleh lebih berpaduan dan kita toleransi, saling ya membantu dan hormati budaya kaum-kaum lain. Jadi kita boleh langkah ke ya lebih maju. Ya, saya rasa perpaduan paling penting.
Polio vaccination campaign started in Gaza on Saturday after the war-torn territory recorded its first case of the disease in 25 years in July. According to the Director of Primary Health Care at the Gaza Health Ministry, Musa Abed, the vaccination campaign, which kicks off in the central region, will then move to southern and northern Gaza. The World Health Organization revealed on Thursday that Israel had agreed to a series of 3-day humanitarian pauses in Gaza to facilitate vaccinations. The vaccination campaign, which involves 2 doses, aims to cover more than 640,000 children under 10.
هذا اليوم ونحن نعلن انطلاق الحملة الوطنية لتطعيم أطفال قطاع غزة ضد شلل الأطفال. نحن نعلمكم بأننا بدأنا من لحظة تشخيص وجود هذا الفيروس في قطاع غزة. الوزارة لم تدخر جهدا في اتخاذ كل الإجراءات السريعة والميدانية والعملية للقضاء على هذا الوباء.
هاي الحملة للتطعيم ضد شلل الأطفال هي الأولى خلال هذه الحرب، وخاصة أنه احنا بنعاني من ازدحام سكاني وتلوث لمياه الشرب، مياه الصرف الصحي المنتشرة كثير في البلد. جيت لطعم ابني 11 شهر عمره، هاي أول مرة.
We talk sports now. Botswana's Lesile Tebogo won the 100 meters at the Rome Diamond League with a time of 9.87 seconds. Easing up 15 meters from the finish and looking back at his rivals, Tebogo, fresh of victories in Lausanne and Silesia, faced strong competition including US runners Fred Curley and Christian Coleman and Kenyan Ferdinand Omanyala. Despite a competitive field, Tebogo eased to victory, glancing back at Curley and Coleman as he crossed the line with 15 meters to spare. Coleman finished second in 9.92 seconds, while Curley took third in 9.95 seconds. Tebogo now sets its sights on the Diamond League final, scheduled for September 5, as it aims to cap off a stellar season. Italian teenager Andrea Kimi Antonelli will join Mercedes to replace Lewis Hamilton, who will move to Ferrari at the season's end, the team announced on Saturday. Antonelli, who turned 18 last weekend, will team up with George Russell. Despite a crash during his first F1 practice at Monza, where he damaged Russell's car, Antonelli was selected by Mercedes. In his brief F1 debut, he lost control at Parabolica and crashed after only 4 laps. Antonelli has excelled in his youth career, winning the 2022 Italian and German Formula 4 Championships and the 2023 Middle East and European Regional Formula Championships. This season, he moved directly to Formula 2, where he is currently 7th in the standings with 2 wins. A bit of football now. England striker Tammy Abraham has joined AC Milan on a season-long loan from Roma. The clubs announced the 26-year-old, who earned his last England cap in November 2022, made the switch on the same day. Belgian winger Alexis Selmakers moved to Roma on loan. Abraham will transfer to Roma from Chelsea for £34 million in 2021, scored 37 goals in 120 appearances for the Italian club, and was part of the squad that won the Europa Conference League under Jose Mourinho in 2022. Having started his career at Chelsea with subsequent loans to Swansea and Aston Villa, Abraham will now reunite with former Chelsea teammates Christian Pulisic, Fikayo Tomori, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek at Milan. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we look at our top stories again. Flood has destroyed 2,517 houses, farmland in Gombe State. Stranded students have begged President Tinubu to rescind ban on Benin Republic varsity certificates. We also told you that heavy rains have swept through Sudan's northeastern region. Do send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. While you do that, follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. And you can also watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Evo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekan Onabanjo.